Well, it's that time, folks. Time for a serious, unscripted video. I feel like a YouTuber making an apology or something, but no, this isn't an apology. This is a goodbye, which is kind of worse in some ways. You know, it's not something I did. It's something that's affecting all of us. I was thinking about making a video like this for like the past year when I found out that season 9 was the last season. I thought, oh, I'm going to have to make some dramatic goodbye video where I address the camera directly in a very serious manner. And you know, like I kept putting it off. It's like, oh, we got time. Oh, the mid-season hiatus isn't even here yet. And that came and went. And it's like, oh, we still got a bunch of episodes left. And so technically the show's already come out already in like a different language. So you could say the show is officially over now. By the time some of you watch this, it hasn't aired in the US yet. And that's kind of considered the official ending of the show. So yeah, the end of the show is upon us, if not already here. So I figured it's now or never. I want to share some my experiences and my Brony story or whatever. So in a way, it is a very sad goodbye. But in another way, nothing's really going to be changing except the eternal hiatus. So yes, to get back on track, My Little Pony's ending after almost exactly 9 years, I think it is. I've been a member of this community for about 8 of those 9 years, so quite a while. Like I laugh because it doesn't feel like that long. I remember seeing the show for the first time and all these milestones I'll get to in a moment. I want to share some stories. But first I just want to talk about like what this community is and how much it means to me and so many others, of course. The desire to contribute to something greater. I think that's something I can personally relate to, and it's also a major part of the community because so many others make it special for that reason. It's just hard to put into words just how special the community is. And I do want to emphasize that that community isn't going anywhere. It might shrink, it might change, we'll see different people come and go, but the community itself hasn't actually changed all that much. Some people whine and complain about drama and stuff, and honestly, the community is made of a bunch of sub-communities, you know, and it all depends on which of those sub-communities you follow and keep an eye on. You could follow certain communities that are known for drama and unsavory things and, like, think the Brony community is horrible and just not want to be a part of it. Or you can just focus more on sub-communities where your friends are and where things you like and relate to are. And I think that's really, truly in the spirit of Friendship is Magic, the way people can connect and relate over a silly cartoon. Not only is it quite amazing for the Brony community, of course, but I think it speaks to some hope for humanity almost in a way. All the conventions and events and charity. Bronies have raised a lot of money for charity. I think it's well over 1 million, maybe getting to almost the 2 million mark just in charity auctions. And of course, the friendships made at a personal level. I can speak from experience, of course. I've met so many great people in the community. There's people who I interact with on a regular basis and I'm pretty close friends with. And of course, there's other community members who I want to get to know better and we get to interact on social media and all that. There's that dreaded horse fame phrase where people are more known than others. But at the same time, it's not like there's that disconnect of normal famous people, you know? The reason horse fame is a joke is because they're not horse famous. They're just horse well-known community members who are friends with lots of people. Like horse fame is just an easier way to put it because it's so complicated. But the interconnectedness and the relationships and friend circles and sub-communities of the community, I think are really worth emphasizing. All right, that's enough rambling. So how did I find the fandom? It was really just by chance. I happened across a bunch of random memes, and I keep seeing ponies pop up in YouTube avatars and that sort of thing. It was late 2011. I don't remember exactly when I happened across ponies. I think I remember it was like some YouTube poops or something stupid like that. And then that got me curious. Of course, once you watch one pony-related video on YouTube, it recommends a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. And they started recommending clips from the show. You could find full episodes on YouTube at this time. This is how far back I go. Brony bragging rights. Back when I was a Brony, you could watch full episodes on YouTube. So yeah, I watched the show under the cover of darkness, keeping it a secret from friends and family, because, you know, I was 16 years old. I didn't want to be caught watching some little girl's cartoon. That's ridiculous, right? But boy, have times changed. Kind of our attitude as people grow up and, you know, realize that watching a kid's cartoon isn't a big deal, like no one really cares, and you know, more people do it than you would think. But also because the show itself has changed and evolved so much. But we'll get to that in a moment. So going back to when I first found the community, I think it all started pretty much with the Friendship is Magic forums, where I kind of just stopped by and said hello and tried to participate in some forum threads. It's pretty casual. But one thing that really took me by surprise, and something I'll never forget, is when I shared my very first pony video, some misheard lyrics Skyrim thing. You know, I look back and cringe. It's like Skyrim, misheard lyrics. These are all really dated things. But no, like when I shared that in the Friendship is Magic forum, I had multiple people respond telling me it was a nice video and they want to see more and that sort of thing. If it wasn't for those few very friendly people I first encountered in the community, I don't know where I'd be. I might not continue making videos. I I could just slowly drift away from the show and lose interest. So because of that, I want to emphasize the importance of just generally being nice to one another. I know it kind of goes without saying, but again, if it wasn't for those first few people who were just being friendly and sharing words of encouragement and all that, things would be radically different in my life. So be nice to one another. That's the moral of the story, I guess. So, of course, in part thanks to that encouragement, I continued making videos. Ever since I was like 5 years old, I'm able to pick up a VHS camera. I love making videos. And the best way to carry that over into pony fandom, I thought was, I'll just take the ponies out of the show and put them in live action footage. Not only do I get to, use a camera and have fun with that, but also stretch my muscles in the video editing software and see what I can learn doing this. And I looked at it in a very technical way, but also I love to craft the stories around these pony life videos. Of course, looking back, my older pony life videos, I don't like them very much. Like, my most viewed video is probably my worst video I've ever made.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! It's winter wrap-up!
Don't look that up. Despite making videos, I knew that I was just kind of making the videos for me. They were just kind of for fun. I never really expected the videos to get a bunch of views and attention. Despite, of course, loving the feedback I got in the forums, I knew this wasn't really that helpful to the fandom. No one really cared about my videos at the time, and I knew that, and that was fine. So I had this desire to contribute back. I wanted to give back, and the best way I could think to do so was green screen ponies. It's very tedious, but I was able to extract ponies from the show and put them in pre-keyed clips or against a green background for people to use in their own videos. That was really fulfilling because I was able to kind of reach out and be a part of other people's videos indirectly. People who I looked up to and thought a lot of, and people who made content I could never, at the time, hope to achieve. So yeah, just being able to be a part of that was really, really cool. I think even like Hank Green, I think, used green screen ponies. So I can kind of say I had a tiny part in this famous YouTuber's video. So in addition to the green screen ponies, of course, I started making other videos on my primary channel. I started off with the pony in real life videos, but then, of course, I grew into other things. And eventually, some of you may have heard of the Cinemarasins videos I make. I've been making Cinemarasins videos for like 6 or 7 years now, I think. And even that series has continued to evolve over the years. But anyway, let's back up a bit. I want to share some milestones and some other stories I have from the community. One of my first big milestones, of course, was seeing the show live with other Bronies in a stream party. I think the first episode I saw was actually the Hearthwarming Eve episode in Season 2. And it's hard to put into words, but I think it's important that I at least try, because being in a stream party, seeing an episode live, or even seeing an episode shortly after it airs and just being a part of the discussion online, that is one of the things we are going to be losing once the show ends, or now that the show has ended. There's still events and communities and stuff going on. Bronies aren't really going anywhere all of a sudden just because the show ended. But that magic of seeing a new episode live and the excitement leading up to a Saturday morning cartoon, we're going to be losing that. So more than that loss, but also keep in mind of what we still have and where we're actually heading. So yeah, stream parties, that's going to be one of the things we lost. But over the years, we've already lost and gained stuff, and things are going to continue to come to the fandom and leave the fandom, and I don't see that stopping anytime soon. But while we're reminiscing about live stream parties, who remembers Derpy? Derpy goes back to like the early 4chan threads of people discussing her and giving her name and personality and all that. And for her to speak and be addressed by name in the last roundup.
Careful, Derpy! I just don't know what went wrong!
I think that's like the highlight for me of the entire show. Just seeing that episode live in a stream full of Bronies who were freaking out excited, understandably so, that this character we have practically created ourselves, or at least developed ourselves, is like now in the show. I mean, it was amazing at the time, but now looking forward in more recent history, Derpy is kind of a normal character now, We almost take her for granted now, so I think it's important to kind of look back and remember how it was back in the good old days of 2012. I was so excited during the last roundup. I made like this horrible video to try to, in an attempt to express my excitement, because again, I couldn't do art, I couldn't like animate, I wasn't very creative. So I expressed my excitement in the only way I could think to. I jumped around on some furniture and hurt myself. Derpy! 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 I don't think I've ever actually showed that video to anyone, so this is like an exclusive release you just witnessed. Just pretend that didn't happen. Another story I want to share is I call it like my first horse fame encounter, even though that term definitely doesn't apply, and I know that everyone hates that term, but there was a guy by the name of Navy Brony who made music, and he also made Pony in Real Life videos, and I was a big fan of his content. I loved his Pony in Life videos. I wanted to help him. I think I did in his later videos. I think he used my green screen ponies. Whenever he would live stream, and this is back on livestream.com, by the way. YouTube didn't really have this, and you couldn't do this sort of thing on Twitch. I was the first to his stream and the last to leave, and I kind of made it a point to like be his biggest fan, I've always been that awkward fan who's excited to meet people, and that's me. I kind of try to hide that part because it's embarrassing, but I actually remember during one time when he was streaming, he would manually cut out the ponies, like frame by frame using Photoshop or something like that. And I showed him, hey, you could just use like a keying filter, right? And key out colors one by one and then extract the pony that way. And I hope I didn't like crush his spirits after spending hours frame by frame extracting ponies from the show for me to come in and do it in like 10 seconds. But I look back on that with a lot of fondness, because that's kind of where Green Screen Ponies started, is finding a better way of doing something I was interested in and then sharing it with others. There was something great about that. So also in the vein of like looking for things that the fandom could use and ways to contribute was, of course, whatisabrony.com. Sometimes I forget whatisabrony.com is one of my earliest creations as well. And I think it was April of 2012 I made that site. And the story behind that is quite simple. I don't have any web design experience. I kind of just made it up as I went along. But I thought, hey, we don't really have like a go-to URL for the fandom for newcomers. It was also about during this time, this all happened like 2012, that BronyCon had its very first big event. It's still kind of a sore subject because BronyCon 2019 just got over, the last one. But BronyCon 2012 Summer BronyCon 2012 was the first big one. There were BronyCons before it. There were pretty small events with just a few hundred people, I think. But Summer BronyCon in Secaucus, New Jersey was the first big one with about 4,000 people that maxed out the venue they were at. And a funny story with that one, this was about the time I first told my parents about this show I was watching. And I only did so because I had to explain why I was buying all these toys in the mail. But anyway, I actually showed them Equestria Daily. I was like, oh yeah, look, this is a blog where we have news and updates and all that. And in the sidebar on Equestria Daily, there was an image or an advertisement or something for BronyCon 2012 in Secaucus, New Jersey. And I was like, oh look, they even have a convention. Wouldn't it be funny if we went to that? They laughed, I laughed, and I think I actually said at the time, nah, I don't think I'll get that far into My Little Pony. I think I got that far into My Little Pony. They left. I thought, wait a minute. Secaucus, New Jersey, that's within driving distance of where we live. And sure enough, I think it was only like a couple months later, we went there. I brought along a friend. I got videos on that if you want to check out all the con stuff I got. So all of that was just 2012, my very first year of being a Brony. It was actually not until the next year, in April 2013, I made the very first CinemaSins video. Of course, if you're not familiar with that, I do kind of a rip-off of CinemaSins, but I mean, speaking of rip-off, I've been in contact with CinemaSins, which is also really awesome, and they seem pretty cool with what I do, so might as well keep doing it, as long as people want to see it and I'm able to make it. I never planned on making CinemaSins a big series. I thought, okay, I'll make one video for the first part of My Little Pony, and I thought, okay, I might as well make a second one, because it's a two-parter. So I made 2 videos, and it was only after that it kind of exploded. People commented and loved it and wanted to see more. I was like, okay, I'll make more. And then it was really the first Equestria Girls video. Oh no. I just realized I owe my success on YouTube to Equestria Girls. No, that's too dark. That's way too dark. That's an airsoft gun, by the way. Most of my friends have come from either my live streams or from watching videos like this one. So it's really interconnected. It's not just viewer and video maker like so much of YouTube is. They're really connected because the viewers also make videos sometimes, and then also the video makers are the viewers. So that's what it means to be a part of a community, I suppose. And if it wasn't for that success of CinemaSins, I might not have been invited to larger projects, which it's been a pleasure and an honor to be a part of. For example, maybe some smaller ones is Equestria collabs. I've done a few PMV collabs with a lot of great people, but Equestria collabs is probably my favorite. There's some really talented people, no drama or anything. It was a relatively small group, which kept it organized. And of course, when Equestria collabs ended, it was all on good terms. People just kind of parted ways and simply moved on to college or work and all that. So it ended on good terms. So how many Brony projects can you say that about? There's always people looking for animators or editors or whatever to like make videos for them, but of course they frame it more as a group, like, oh, I'm gathering a team of people to make this cool video. At one time there was this guy, I don't want to say too much because he might still be around. I don't have nothing against him personally, of course, but he wanted everyone to make videos about his OC, and everyone thought it was kind of weird at first, but he framed it as like, oh yeah, it's gonna be like a little short film, like a movie. It's like, okay, we'll make a movie about ponies. That sounds like fun, but it's all about your OC, and that happens more often than you would think. People who have like a vision of wanting to do something. And I think that ties back into this community's desire to contribute and give back. You get people who don't know how to edit videos or animate themselves, so they collect a team of people who do it for them. Of course, don't do that. There are other ways you can contribute besides making other people do it for you. That sort of thing can be fun from a distance. Usually the leader has a meltdown. That's how it always ends. I mean, it's not just one. It's not just the one person I was talking about there. It happens every time. One specific example is Project Cerulean. Someone else animated this part right here, But I did the environment, and then I also animated this part right here of the close-up. And it was kind of fun to be a part of that project, because the team leader had a lot of other team members who were really well-known, and it was kind of nice to talk to them. But of course, that just sort of ended. I think a couple key members who actually kind of knew how to animate and all that, they left for various reasons. And I was just left with me, a couple people, and the leader. And none of us had really had the experience to carry the project, so it just kind of disbanded from there. And somewhat similar is, of course, Journey of the Spark. That was going to be a fan-made My Little Pony movie, back before this was a thing. And that had drama, too. I'm not really sure what went wrong there. It's kind of a running joke, an inside joke. I haven't really ever explained this, but the inside joke is that whenever I join a project, it dies horribly. You know, I joined Journey of the Spark, and like a week later, it disbands and gets a cease and desist or something horrible. I'm trying to think of other examples, because I know this is like a running joke I have with some friends, but that's probably the biggest example, is I killed Journey of the Spark. But those are some lesser-known, unsuccessful projects. Of course, there were huge projects that I'm so proud to be a part of and honored to be a part of, like Bronies React. I was a big fan of Bronies React back in the good old days. I was watching Bronies React as any other fan, and for Race to actually invite me to it is amazing. I'm still in shock. I've been a part of Bronies React for years, but it still feels like a new experience to me, so that's amazing. If Race is watching this, thank you so much for that. Another big one, Ponies the Anthology. Just like Bronies React, I was a big fan of Ponies the Anthology. I would look forward to seeing one every couple years, and I also followed a lot of the contributors. I was a fan of them individually as well as the collective anthology. So Jay Holler, thank you so much for not only the top 10s, which we'll get to, but also inviting me to Ponies Anthology 6 and 7. And of course, there's the top 10 pony videos, which Jay Holler ran. And again, that was also something I was following for many years. So this isn't meant to be like me bragging about all the things I'm a part of, because really it comes from that spirit of being a fan of these things. You can make videos or art or even just contribute to the discussion of things and still be a major part of this community. I just want to express my thankfulness. All of you guys, if you're part of this community, big or small, you're really a blessing to me and everyone else in the community. So thank you so much. All right, so is this the end? My Little Pony has been airing since October 10th, 2010. So the final episode airs in the US, I believe, October 19th. That may be long in the past for some of you viewing this, or maybe it's coming up really quick. Either way, it's a big moment. It's exactly 9 years, 8 days, and 22 hours since the first episode. Those 9 years have been so monumental for so many people, and especially myself included. I don't know how I could possibly encapsulate all the importance of these past 9 years in just one little video like this. So I hope I was able to at least scratch the surface of this huge thing. Unlike a company or a franchise or an organization of some sort, I think the Brony community is actually bigger than that. We're a subculture. Bronies exist as long as there's two or more to enjoy the show together. Here's one. Can I count on at least one of you to be the other? I guess no one can know for certain where the Brony community is going to go, but I think we can know for certain where we've been. My Little Pony already lost its trendy meme status way back years ago, like 2014, 2015 or something like that. We've already survived the most difficult part. Just a couple short weeks ago, as I record this of course, BronyCon saw its highest attendance count yet at well over 10,000 people. I think that's a very good sign that despite some things coming to a close, some things ending, some people leaving, all this bad news, we're all still here. If thousands of people can collectively still meet at Brony conventions and thousands more at individual local meetups, if so many talented people can continue to make pony animations and art and other creative works, like every day for 9 years, I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. And if someone like you could make it to the end of this long, rambling video, I think that's a good sign that the Brony fandom is not going anywhere. So if you're like me and many others and you're sad that the show has ended and you need something to look forward to, just stay tuned. Philly Fantasia's coming out in English any day now, hopefully.